I'm Lester Holt. Howdy, Holt heads. Kurt Money here, alongside my co-host,
Kateline.
And we've got something new today that we've never dealt with. And that is, today we're talking about an episode that is an update of a case that we've previously covered. This is a first for us, is it not?
It's wild that it took 2 years.
2 years? Oh, you mean for us to do this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, this episode was like last November.
No, 2 years of doing the pod, and this is the first time this scenario has come up.
Yeah, and we are, of course, talking about the Karen Reed trial, because the verdict is in, and you know we have thoughts.
Not guilty.
We talked about this last year, I think it was October or November or something like that, and I re-listened to it, and I thought it was a pretty fun ep. Did you give it a listen, Kate?
I did. What was very clear to me was that we both really enjoyed the episode.
Yeah. I mean, I was listening to this going, this is a front runner for the old Lesty of the Year right here. I was like, this is feeling good. We thought it was a great Dateline, and I thought we were yucking it up. We learned a lot of cool stuff, like you have great teeth, and then I hide cold cuts in couches and stuff. I mean, it was a very eventful podcast.
And you missed a bleep. I called you an asshole.
No, that's not a miss. That's on perp. I leave an asshole in there, Kate. I leave it.
Okay.
What do you think?
Brave.
Good, honey.
But yeah, we are talking about, I mean, we say the Karen Reed thing, and it's like we should be the John O'Keefe thing, obviously, because he's the victim here. Maybe that'll give you a taste of where my head's at the moment. But I would say, Holt heads listening, we're talking about the episode, The Night of the Nor'easter. It was hosted by Murph Dog for a jam-packed 10 minutes, and then AC took it over. So if you want to know the basics of the story, I'd say go back and peep that up. We're not going to go over it again here, because we desperately do not want to.
Yes.
We already done did it.
We are tired.
And you know, another thing that happened in that first app, it was the first time where we threw the gauntlet down of like, Dateline, give us some answers. Where's Murph Dog? And I think it's fitting that it's this one where it's like, we know where he is. Not on the show anymore. Again, nothing's been announced. But I mean, this was the case. Even in that last episode, kid, I'm sitting there going, what if he hasn't been on the show because he has to testify in the Karen Reed trial? Wouldn't that be awesome? And wouldn't you know, not a single mention of him other than what was already in the app.
It would have been cool had he testified.
I mean, yeah. And we did see footage of his interview. So his shoulder testified, kind of, right?
Yes. I'm trying to think.
What's that?
It's funny to look back just a few months ago and see how naive we were about Murph.
Yeah.
You know?
What do you mean, like the hope that we'd see him again and stuff?
Yeah, that we weren't really worried and that we were just funning.
Yeah.
Just having a laugh.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, we'll talk about big picture stuff like that at the end of the app, but we were funning though. I think that's a good way to put it. And now we're just kind of like, oh, this is the reality, I guess. Mm-hmm. So let's move forward. Anyway, so no IMDb other than the fact, well, I bet there is one actually. Hold, please. Off to the goog. To the goog. Center of the storm. You want to know something crazy, Kate?
What?
These MFers. Guess what the episode number is for this episode? It's still in season 33, but what do you think the episode number is?
Wouldn't it just be chronologically the one that comes after the last one?
You would think. You absolutely would think that. Well, it's probably either the Koberger one, and that was episode 29, or the Sean Combs trial episode. And that was episode 30. So you'd think this would be episode 31, right? Mm-hmm. Logically? Nah. It's episode 67.
Now what?
67? Yeah.
What?
It's so, like, we were talking recently, like, when the verdict came down, I texted you jokingly and said, well, I hope you're in a Karen Reed mood because you know we're going to have to talk about it either this Friday or next. And then what did my eyes see when I logged on to Insta? They were ready a day early. They said new episode Thursday night.
And that's why it was up on the cock on Friday instead of the usual Saturday.
Yeah. And actually, the thumbnails on the cock said new episode Fridays. So I don't know if they're going to stick with it or they changed it just for a week. Anyway, who knows what the cock is up to? Who knows what Dateline's up to? They do what they want.
Makes no sense.
So IMDb, we now have a verdict to the Karen Reed trial. What'd you think of this episode?
Well, I went back and listened to our episode from November. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think all of my opinions remain unchanged.
Okay.
However.
All right. Yes. Yep.
I am pleased with the outcome of this verdict.
Oh, I mean, that's funny, Kate, because I thought about that too. We both at the end of the app were saying she and her vehicle were no doubt responsible for the death of John O'Keefe. My thought was she did it drunkenly, but on purpose. As illogically as that may be, she did it on purpose because she shithoused. And you thought she did it on accident and had no idea. But either way, her car struck him, and that's why he died.
Mm-hmm.
And when this trial started a few weeks ago, I started hearing so many people. I mean, I would say that the internet's opinion is that she's innocent.
Yes.
And I am just flummoxed by this. I've never been this so far on the other end of an internet opinion. I don't remember. I don't think. I don't understand how they think that. What's that?
Well, for me, I don't think that she's innocent, but I also don't think that there was enough to convict her. And I think at the most she would have been guilty of manslaughter.
Okay, I just disagree. I think there was plenty of stuff to get a manslaughter or whatever you want to call it. I thought there was more than enough evidence that she did it. Well, let's just say the verdict came in, she's innocent.
Murder in the second degree. What say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The only thing she was guilty of was having a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or higher. And yeah, hey, good job, jurors. They said that in the trial, that it was 0.08 5 hours after it. So, that's an easy verdict to weigh in on. But she's innocent on the big one.
But there was enough reasonable doubt, Kurt. This case was sloppy as hell. There was so much going on.
Nah.
And
there
were really good points.
Proctor's fault.
There were really good points.
What? Tell me them. Kate, tell me. What do you think was a great point that would shut me up right now?
There were a few. One being, if he was killed right there from being hit by the car, why was there no blood anywhere around him in the snow?
I don't know, but it could be the same reason why there aren't crisscross hatch marks from grass on his head, because it was a fucking snowstorm.
You might see grass in the wound, or you would tend to see an irregular kind of crisscross pattern of the flattened grass. And that's not what we have here on Mr. O'Keefe.
Remember the footage of her on the security cam of when the cops arrived at the scene?
Yes.
That's why the previous app was called The Nor'easter, and this was called Center of the Storm. It was snowing and windy like crazy. So I'm not impressed when they say, well, he didn't hit his head on the grass because there were no imprints of grass on his head. And I feel like that's the category I'm putting in your blood thing. Who knows what happened out there in that weather?
Next point. When they...
What? Come on. No, what is your counter to that? Do you not have a counter or what?
Well, the grass thing makes no sense because it was a blizzard. There was no grass. So, yes, but there would be blood in the snow, I'm saying. Next point. When they showed us the crime scene photos of the shards of taillight, they were not covered in snow. It had been snowing for 8 hours at that point, and they were just sitting right on top of the snow, like they had been placed there.
I disagree with that being the fact, and I disagree. I don't know. I think that there was snow on them. They were not just sitting there on top, I don't think. I don't think that's true.
I think it's true.
Okay, let me ask you this, Kate, for what happens. But how did the microscopic pieces of the tailgate get into his sweater at 9 points? How else would that have happened?
That is a great point.
Okay, that's number one that you don't have an answer to.
I don't.
And honestly, Kate, look, tell me to cut this out if you want. But you said via text that you were happy for Karen, and I was fuming. Am I going to have to cut that out?
No, not at all. I am happy that she can put this to rest after years and millions of dollars and all of the stress of this, because I still believe that even if she hit him, it was not her intention to kill him. She was blacked out drunk. There's no telling what happened. There's just no telling. And this is something we talked about last time, that
I know
this is what happens when people get this drunk. There's no way to know. They make stupid choices. Things don't make sense. It's all a blur. That's it.
Look, I hear you. Here's my problem with that, is you're saying I'm happy for her. There's reasonable doubt, like she can move on. But the alternative theory is that it's a conspiracy with many cops and a dog. that did it. Okay? And now it's not like if she had, I feel like for me to be happy with this result is if she said I did it, it was an accident, and they gave her probation or something. Like I'm not happy for her at all because she's saying that there was a conspiracy to kill her boyfriend. And that is so not true. That is so not true, right?
Maybe I'm just happy for me.
Okay. All right.
Because now I can move on.
Right. Well, you still got about 25 more minutes to talk about it, so I hope you're okay, Kate. What do you think?
I thought it was interesting that this new episode, or at least this new trial, left out things that the last episode had.
Like what?
So this one introduced these microscopic plastic shards on the sleeve, but they didn't mention the pig stuff, the pig skin.
True. Pig DNA.
Pig DNA.
Pig DNA.
Which would indicate that a dog had been on him at some point.
Or that
they
a
also
dog-
made no mention of him having dog hair on him. If he was indeed attacked by a German Shepherd, they'd be hella shedding. He'd be covered in dog hair.
Yeah. What about this? It's cold as hell and blizzard outside. You let the dog out. This dog goes to a dead body, licks up the blood on the snow, right? Because dogs be licking, right? Mm-hmm. And licking the wounds and stuff. So there you go. That's how the pig DNA got there. I do not think it's that a couple of dudes said, sick 'em, get John for whatever reason, so that my other friend can bone his girlfriend. Don't you understand how crazy that is?
It's crazy.
But I'm, what, okay, deep breath, Kurt. What I'm having a hard time moving on from is the idea that we can say good for Karen because there was a reasonable doubt. I'm not here for that one solid bit. He died because of the corner of the car hit him. There is more than enough evidence to prove that. We know how fast, it was going 23.9 miles an hour, okay? Like, and also all the new evidence where, there's new evidence where his phone, the temperature got lower and stuff, and that was proof that he didn't go inside, so he didn't go up and down the stairs, like old Al Jackson said. The defense attorney, who had a new beard this time, guess what? It stunk. Gross facial hair, Al Jackson. Tell me we can agree on that, Kate.
I'm not a fan of Alan Jackson's facial hair. I'm not a fan of Alan Jackson.
Gross.
I do like Alan Jackson, the country singer, though.
Okay.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I like that some things weren't presented. Like, the prosecution didn't call the same witnesses. And I say good, because guess what? Those fools already sank themselves. Just play their pre-existing, like, witnessing, right? Like, and they introduced it via other ways when they're asking about the text and stuff. That was one thing when I re-listened to our ep. I called Proctor, I said, no ass. And I was like, why was I talking about this dude's butt? And then I rewatched the ep, and it's like, oh, because that's one of the things he texted about Karen.
No ass.
She's a bitch. Is that right?
Yes.
A whack job, correct?
Yes.
No ass, correct?
Yes.
Oh, this guy Proctor. Oh, he was another new part of this. AC went to his house. He's still married. He was not fired when he did that testimony. But what happened 2 hours later?
He was asked to turn in his badge. So I was wrong on the last episode because I said he had already been fired at that
you would
point,
assume.
which got a laugh, but wasn't true.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that he agreed to talk to AC, but only if he and his wife could just walk around their backyard. He didn't want to sit down for an interview.
No. He's a man of the people, and look, he's got some yard work he's attending to. Oh, Dateline's here. Okay, I mean, come on.
Michael Proctor agreed to answer questions in the family's backyard.
Okay, so this Proctor guy, I can't believe his wife is still with him, and she had to be in the hot seat too. Like, AC's like, basically saying like, yo, so why are you still with this creep? Right? Like, she's asking all the cues that we're going. Like, did he apologize? When did you find out the truth?
Yeah, and she was arguing that he's a good guy and he's a great father and husband, and that it's embarrassing, but they have to move on. And I thought she looked really cute in that backyard, and he looked so stupid. I don't understand straight men and their desire to put on shorts that are too long and shirts that are too big and a baseball hat. You are on television, sir, and your wife is in a
Looks great.
gorgeous, cute little outfit. I'm just at a loss. I can't figure it out. I don't understand men. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, You're right. He wasn't doing himself any favors because twice, 2 answers in a row, he did a, like, laughed at it and then answered. And I feel like he did that more than once because they put this one in there. We're like, well, if we take all of them out, it would be like untrue journalism or something, I feel. Because it's really back to back where he's like, no, no.
Did you crack the taillight to make it look a certain way?
Absolutely not.
Did you frame Karen Reed?
Absolutely not.
Actually, he does not want to move on Kate. He wants his job back. Where do you stand on this? Should Proctor get rehired?
Yeah, he should.
Okay.
Because he did make a point of saying he'd had no disciplinary action ever taken against him. He had no bad marks. He had no issues. He was for all purposes, a good cop. And also, these texts were on his personal phone, not his work phone. Also, this just feels like par for the course. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are worse cops.
Yeah, I mean, this is another thing we agree on, because I feel like the cops, they're in luck, because they don't have to put on the form the reason why they fired him, I don't think. Because if they do, I'd say do not write down that he was texting me and because guess what? The person writing that report would get fired along with everybody else on the friggin' force. It's not like he's the one doing these dirty texts and people are going, oh, this guy is so inconsiderate.
Totally.
Right? He just got busted. And what I would put down, I want him to stay fired because he screwed this trial up. And there's a person walking free directly because of these texts. That's why I would write on the paper, Proctor, you're fired forever. Not for the texting and saying no ass and go kill yourself and all that stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, this is...
I want to know what the texts in response to his texts were. Because
Great cue.
he had to have been egged on by a colleague being like,
Yeah.
yo, give me those deets.
Yeah. I mean, because if you pick any one of the multiple insane texts that he said, he had to have had at least...
If the response wasn't, hey man, come on, that's not appropriate, then they're guilty too.
Exactly.
Because you know the response was LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sucks. Or whatever.
Exactly. The second one would not have been sent had the previous one not gotten the ha-ha bubble. Or like an LOL or something, you know?
Yep.
So, I mean, look, yeah, if he gets hired again. But I mean, okay.
He's trying to get hired with the state troopers though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So where is that on the totem pole? Is that like just a different area, different color uniforms?
It just makes me think of The Departed, because wasn't who was it? Was it Mark Wahlberg was the trooper? Leo was or was it Matt Damon was the statey?
I mean, Matt Damon was he had more status as a character, so whatever
I think
that is.
he was a state trooper, yeah. So
yeah, okay.
is this guy trying to go from Canton police to state trooper? Is he trying to get promoted up?
Oh, good cue. I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
that's bold.
I thought maybe it was like a lateral move to a not so densely populated area. It was like he used to be a city cop, but he's going to be like writing tickets out in the boonies or something. I thought was his new gig. I don't know. I mean, pretty big swing if he's like, okay, I'll skip this rung of the ladder. That would be hilarious.
Yeah. The problem here is that there aren't many likable people involved with this case. Whether it's the lawyers, the defendant, the cops, the social media influencer.
Okay, let's talk about it. Kate, had you forgotten all about Turtle Boy? I had wiped him from my mind.
Yeah, no.
When I listened to the old app.
He was gone.
And I was like, oh, I remember that. Fuck. I remember that guy. And then here's one of the small victories, because I gotta enjoy him while I can in this episode, is that I was so ecstatic that he could not get a ticket to sit in on the trial. I mean, I loved it. It felt so good. He's like, you're not really seeing a lot of me right now because I couldn't get a ticket in.
He did say
Take that, Turtle Boy.
He couldn't get in every day. I think he did get in once or twice.
Okay, but his vibe during that interview says, my tail's between my legs a little because, oh yeah, I've got multiple lawsuits against me. He goes, well, 6 of them are done, but there's a few more.
Sidelining outspoken figures like Turtle Boy.
So I haven't been able to get in the courtroom as much, and so that's why you haven't seen me.
Turtle Boy wasn't so assholey in this episode, I'd like to say. He was a lot calmer. He didn't have a shirt on that said, he didn't say, hey, what's up, losers?
What's up, losers?
Okay, he was wearing a collared shirt.
They also...
I think he's put in his place.
Made the circus around the courthouse go away. They had people way back from the courthouse. There wasn't this huge mass of people with signs and everything like there was the first time around.
Well, because they wouldn't allow matching shirts or signs. Pretty baller move. I didn't know they could literally enforce that. And they did. They enforced it, and we see shots of it, and I think it's good for the case. But verdict day, though, all bets were off. The shirts were out in full force.
Verdict day, the shirts were out, but I'm wondering if all of those people were maybe at a park around the corner, not necessarily out front.
And then as soon as the trial's over, it's kind of like, well, there's not a trial in this court anymore, so now I can do whatever I want. Let's race over there. I could see that. Here's another reason why I feel I'm so on the one side of opinion here, is that Karen Reed's not doing herself any favors. The opening line we get from her is in the car going,
"They're really trying to bleed me dry here. What is the point of all these witnesses?"
And that's the beginning. Look, she had to sell her house and whatnot. She's getting gift cards for fancy suits. They're like, you can donate and actually have dinner made for you by Jackson, the lawyer guy. We see footage of it. How'd you feel about this, Kate? This was a new thing to me. I was kind of grossed out by it, TBH.
I thought this was strange because all of these things they were doing were in an effort to fundraise for her defense. But if you're her lawyer, doesn't it seem strange that you would go out and fundraise so that your client could just pay you? You're fundraising for your own salary. Can't you just not charge her? Can't you do it pro bono? You've already gotten so much publicity from this and millions already.
That's a great point. I mean, I would have loved to have heard that, because you're right. I did put that together. He's fundraising
for himself
so he can get paid.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny. I mean, yeah, that's good. I mean, great cue. Great cue, because he comes out of this. I mean, if you're pro Karen Reed, this guy's a new hero. Because I'll tell you this, Kate, I don't think it's because of reasonable doubt. I don't think it was because the trial sucked or like there was no evidence. I think this was a case of the power of money and public perception. I think we see it all the time, and that's what this was. Karen Reed was a folk hero by the time this trial started, okay? And then they got money pouring in. That's what I think did it. What do you say to that?
I don't think you're wrong.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue.
Why not? You're just going to let me say it and then...
I don't.
What do you think?
I don't like anybody. I don't like Karen, but
you're happy for her.
I'm glad that this is over. And my mind has changed a little bit when it comes to John's family.
Ooh, hit me.
Now, they were treated very poorly by Turtle Boy and his army.
Yep.
People were making signs and yelling things at them while they're just trying to come to court.
Yes. Turtle Boy called the family maggots.
Yes.
And that's very unfair. But his family kept arguing that John is the one who's been forgotten and that all the attention is on Karen, and what about John? And I would say that John has passed and Karen is fighting for her life. And just because Karen is fighting for her life, that doesn't mean that anyone has forgotten John. To me, it was an unnecessary stance to take. Now, maybe they don't like her, obviously, but couldn't they have also... Can't both things be true? Couldn't they also be supporting Karen while wanting to get justice for John? Why does Karen negate
I think it's
the attention for John? And who else? Why are they upset that Karen's trial is taking away from the death of their loved one? That's what trials are. He's no longer here. It's not going to be about him. It's about the accused. That is how the law works. So I'm very confused about what they actually wanted. They wanted to go to court and have it be all about John? That would never happen.
That's not what they're wanting here. What they don't want is that the narrative around this trial is that this woman has been wronged and Karen Reed needs to be fought for. That's what they're not a fan of. Like Beth, the family member that's on it, she's not a fan of hopping on Apple TV and seeing Karen Reed trial episodes 1 through 4 come up. And that, like, there's no picture of John or whatever. That's what she's mad at. And that's kind of what I'm mad at. I hear you. John's passed and stuff. And I could see where some people could say that. But I think in this case specifically, it is all about her. I don't know. I'm with them on this. I'm just as annoyed. At least put his picture in the thumbnail of all the shows about it. That sounds like a good compromise to me. But he's not in any of them. It's Karen Reed's mug, and that's it. Think about even the ID show that they talk about on here. There's one on HBO Max or something. It's every thumbnail is just a picture of her. So in that case, I'd go, let's put John in there in the background or something. What do you think?
I could see that. Yeah.
And Karen is fighting for her life. But then when she walked out of that trial after winning, and they're all doing this and the hand signs, love to all my fans, love to all my fans.
Is that what that means? That means love? I thought that meant rock and roll.
Well, they had the thumb out. Maybe that's the difference.
But doesn't that mean University of Texas hook'em?
I mean, that sounds like something that a college co-opted to mean that. Because I think I've seen that too. In reality, I think it means a lot of things, but I feel like this might be the ASL sign for love, is what they're doing.
Oh.
She and her team giving the love sign to a mob of adoring fans.
But she walks out of that trial, she's tapping her heart, giving love to her fans, and she says, nobody fought harder for justice for John than I did.
No one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have.
Excuse me? What now, Karen? Wind that back for me real quick.
No one has fought harder.
How? You didn't fight for shit. You fought for yourself. You fought for yourself because you couldn't fess up. You're rolling with the lie. You were fighting your fight to have this lie pass this trial and move on with your life. It's got nothing to do with John.
But wouldn't fighting for her own life, the fact that she was so certain that she didn't do this, proving her innocence would then also be a step in the direction of finding who really did do this.
No, I'm not giving any credit to that.
That's her logic.
But
this was a fight for the truth, and the truth is for John.
I disagree. I think that they were just pulling loose strings wherever they were and where they could. I don't think they were going, the wrong person's on trial here. Like, come on. Like, if now she was to say, all right, let's find the real person who did it, I'd say, okay, Karen, say this a year from now, and we'll reassess. But she's not going to do shit about this now, Kate. She's going to fight the civil one so that she doesn't have to pay any money, and then she's going to have a new show on the cock, okay? Like, she's not going to do a damn thing for justice for John.
Well, I guess we'll see.
Kate.
I am playing devil's advocate to a point where it is making you angry.
I'm angry at this trial 1,000%. Why? What's up? Are you like on?
Because again,
What?
I do think she hit him. I just think it was an accident. Just like I said in November.
I know, but let's
she doesn't remember it. She didn't intend for this to happen, and now she's trying to save her ass. Fine. But
how can you believe that and say that she's fighting for justice for John by finding the real killer? If you say that you know that the killer was tailgate to John's body, how can you say she's fighting for justice for John for fighting for her to be free? How can you say that?
Because then he wasn't murdered. It was an accident, and that is justice.
Oh no, it would be if she said it was an accident and I blacked out.
Yes.
And that would have been justice. But that's not what they're saying. They're saying there's a conspiracy and there's multiple people in law enforcement and a dog behind it. That's what they're arguing.
See, this is why this case is so fascinating to so many people. Because there are so many different angles here.
Okay.
I think you think it's a little more cut and dry than it is.
But we both agree on how the body was murdered. So that feels hella cut and dry to me, Kate. It feels hella cut and dry. What's up? What's up? Sorry, are you like dying?
What's
are you
up?
Like, are you like hating this? You want me to shut my mouth, move on?
Well, there's other things we still haven't talked about.
Very true. I can't. I'm just having a.
I want to talk about how this new driving simulation was shown at this trial, where it's showing the acceleration and the distance.
Yeah.
But the diagram that they showed of the car was just in a straight line, backing up 24 miles an hour. We know that the prosecution's own argument is that there was like a weird turn and she cut in and hit him, and there was no turning of the wheel if we're to believe this black box recreation. It's a straight backup. To me, that seems like what you would do when you're backing out of a parking spot, like when they left the bar.
Yeah, I don't know what those one line, it's like those yellow lines that the car was against was like maybe showing you the length to give you like a you know how on maps it's like 1 inch is 100 miles, but they look like parking spots. And then the test that they were doing was literally in a parking lot. That overhead shot of them in the parking lot, it confused matters even more. I mean, look, we got to give them credit. They got the car right this time. Car Kate, you got to be happy that they didn't have an Expedition and AC standing in front of the Ford logo going, well, this is Lexus Light.
That was such an oversight last time. What, they couldn't find a Lexus LX?
Yeah.
That's a very common car.
Yeah, I mean, this crash test expert guy found one A-okay. I loved the tests I like the test that the guy did for the prosecution where he painted the taillight literally blue and then had a guy who's John's height walk up against it. And that to me was the perfect rebuttal to those are dog bites. Because you see the blue paint is exactly over where those scratches are. And that to me is straight up friggin' taillight scrapes. Don't you think that was a good visual to go like, it's not so crazy? Like
it shows that the height and the placement of what they're describing is possible. What about his swollen eyes?
Refresh me. What's the deal?
He was found with his eyes swollen shut, like he had been hit in the face.
Well, he could have hit his head either a secondary impact when he got hit in the elbow and he hit the top of the car, or when he hit the ground and then the extreme cold made it swell or whatever. Like I feel like there's a few question marks. I don't think like his eyes are swollen because he got clocked.
But doesn't
I don't know.
Cold...
Like, how else would you prove...
Doesn't extreme cold reduce swelling?
Yeah.
And also, there was nothing to hit on the ground. It was covered in snow.
Sorry, you say that, and I think of the grass lady.
That's what I'm saying.
And which one is the truth then? Is there bare grass or is there snow? Which one? Sorry.
There's snow. I don't agree with the grass lady. I already said that. I don't think that she was a very compelling witness because everything was snow covered.
But what about him? I know that they did that dummy thing where it looked like he got spun and stuff.
That was insane.
But
when the truth is probably way more simple, like what you just described, like hits his arm, he ricochets, hits his head and falls.
Yeah.
There's no spinning along the side of the car.
Yeah. Another thing that was weird is they showed the taillight after this dummy got hit, and their proof was, well, it broke it almost identically to what happened in this case, but there's a bottom layer of plastic that's only cracked. That sounds like I'm being a smartass, but isn't that exactly what they were saying? I was like, guys, you're sinking yourself here.
Yeah.
It looked like it did in the accident.
Also, was the dummy 220 pounds? Was it exactly the same amount of energy and force?
Yeah, I mean...
And if his arm... The dummy may not have been able to like resist or add resistance or punch back where his arm may have if it had been hit and flung.
Great point.
He may have been the thing that broke it further.
Yeah.
That was both sides of this have some batshit evidence.
What's batshit on my side?
Oh, your side.
Well, it's me versus you right now, Kateline. I don't know if you know the premise of this show. Isn't that what we're talking about here? What? What's that?
It was damp today.
Sure was damp today.
I can't wrap my head around the idea that there's any time for the conspiracy angle. That's my problem with this, and I don't understand.
Maybe I just enjoy conspiracies more than you do. So anytime there is one, I'm willing to entertain it just for S's and G's.
Yeah, I mean, I hate conspiracies because this is what they do, is they plant doubt where there shouldn't be. And it's because people are like, well, I like conspiracies. Oh, you know what it could be? Like, what if this goes all the way to the top? We don't know. Like, that's why I hate them. Is because people can apply a conspiracy to the most basic ass conflict ever. I'm not saying that's what you're doing here, but that's my general opinion of conspiracies, is they're a distraction from the truth.
You mean like,
I think,
is the earth round? The conspiracies...
Yeah, that's a pretty stupid...
That it isn't. Or the conspiracies about birds not being real. That's where it gets taken a little too far.
Wow, that's a new one to me. Well, I'm glad I do not know anybody who doesn't think birds are real. You think birds are real, right, Kate?
I do, but I do know people who think that they are not.
there's a lot of proof that birds are real. I mean, you see what I mean? Now we got to give like oxygen to defending birds existing. And it's like, wait.
That kid next door is a meatball.
What else we got before we go to those lists? I don't know how yours was, but I had a ton on mine. I had some good ones. Are we ready for lists or no?
We're ready, but I don't know that my list this time would be any different than my list the last time.
Okay.
For me, it's just the Lexus.
Well, okay, well, them showing the Lexus in the new test, that could be an item. I mean, I'm literally talking about, I said halfway through, it's a little bit more than that. It's probably the last 30, 35 minutes is new. I'm only talking about that chunk.
Oh, wow.
I had like 5 new things. So if you didn't have anything, it's like, it's all good.
I didn't.
Okay, well, first, hey, Kate, why don't you hit me with your list?
Kate's unnamed list.
Just the Lexus.
Okay. I count that, though. I love a good recreation thing like that. There's a great FF where they do that kind of stuff. And it's pretty sweet. And it's on my list for a Patreon at some point. All this new info about the SD card and all that was wild. Like, it just proved, again, he didn't go inside. So how all that stuff is weird that they can have 2 people saying the same thing, but differently. What do you think? Like, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm supposed to go to my list now. Let me say one thing about Al Jackson that I hate now. Is that cool, Kate? Let me just sneak in one more thought about him.
You go right ahead.
When he said no evidence he was hit by a car. None. No evidence.
There is no evidence that John was hit by a car. None.
Okay, other than the pieces of tailgate that were in his sleeve. That's evidence he was hit by the car.
It is. And it's, why did they not include that in the first trial?
I don't know if they presented it. It might not have been presented. I mean, because like that SD card was found after that trial. So like maybe when they go back to the drawing board, there was a new prosecutor. They brought in some bigwig, supposedly, that didn't. I think it was also lost because of showmanship that Al Jackson won that battle. His performance was better than the prosecution's. Guy was a little quiet mouth guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, but I want to be like, make some eye contact. Okay, on to Kurt's Kick-Ass List.
Kick-Ass List.
Well, all sorts of Hollywood stuff because of these docs, the ID channel doc that she was in. We actually see, I love that not only did they have the raw footage, they had all 3 camera angles. It's like this doc that was all about Karen. Here she is talking about how drunk she was, saying she wasn't blacked out. And it's like, well, I don't know. I mean, I kind of think when you black out, you don't remember it happening. That's in the definition.
Yeah.
I have had a few cocktails. I didn't black out.
So that's on my list, right? Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of Hollywood talk about, friggin' Proctor in the backyard is going, that Al Jackson is friggin' like making it a Hollywood tale where I'm planting evidence all over town.
Alan Jackson, instead of arguing the facts and data, he's creating this Hollywood tale, calling me the boogeyman, saying I was running around town planting evidence.
I was like, no, you just got busted being a dumbass, dude. I would just get off camera if I were you. I would just say, no more interviews. I'm going to move on with my life. Like, there's no recovery from that. IMO. Oh, we see Dateline is part of the friggin' trial. I mean, Dateline getting a shout out in the show is definitely on my list, especially when it's part of like the friggin' evidence. Murph Dog Shoulder, cameo, loved it, right? That was kind of cool.
And this one from her Dateline interview.
I didn't think I hit him, but could I have clipped him? Could I tagged him in the knee and incapacitated him?
Yo, what the hell is a dog fight expert? That lady was not like a canine specialist. She literally said, hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm a dog fight expert.
I've never heard of that.
What?
Does that mean that she is a referee for dog fights?
Yeah, it sounds like we got to investigate these.
She runs a dog fighting ring?
Yeah, like maybe we got to talk to you again, lady.
The defense asked this dog bite expert of her opinion on what caused those marks.
Dog bite expert.
Okay, here we go. This is sometimes on my list, sometimes it's in the show. And that is the segment that I like you to say, Kate. It starts with an E. And make sure you say it right, that I can't do. What am I talking about?
Somebody put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Boom. And boy, did AC do it. Did you hear it or no?
I did not.
I bet you didn't hear it because she said it so wild that it didn't register that she was saying Vanity Fair. She said Vanity Fair.
Vanity Fair?
Continuing to push her side of the story. Talking to Vanity Fair. Boston 25 News.
It was insane. I'm convinced now it's got to have something to do with journalist pronunciation rules. It was so aggressively incorrect and odd to me. I just like it. Vanity Fair. I couldn't believe it. I wasn't laughing as hard as I was to the poop.
Now,
the poop was the biggest laugh, but this was number 2.
The last few weeks when we've had an emphasis situation, I feel like it has often been about a publication of some kind.
Interesting.
So maybe it is journalism rules.
But why would it be that? What would
I don't know.
I don't know. I like whenever there's weird journalist rules, it's like, well, that's what the AP style guide says. Like if that was the answer, I'd go, okay, I get it. It's dumb as hell. But is that in there? Like you have to say it?
I don't think
I don't know.
Emphasis is in the style guide.
Good point. I mean, unless you're writing in caps or italics, that's got to be in there somewhere, right?
Vanity Fair.
It's weird. It was
Talking to Vanity Fair.
If there are any journalist Holt heads out there or TV presenters, let us know if there's something we're missing here. Because it's might be my favorite addition to the lists this year. Because it just, once I started looking for it, I was like, oh, I kind of get it every ep if I want it, you know? And it's funny, I'm doing a lot of talking about like overall stuff, the year stuff. I mean, this is episode 39 of season 2. We are just 10 episodes from the second annual Lesties. And now I was going to talk about it here because this is going to be a short ep, but I think because we disagreed, it's actually hella long now. So if you want to kick this down the road, Kate, I'd be more than happy to. But do we start floating the idea of we might do a format change come season 3?
I think we should wait.
Okay, I'll wait. I guess I just want to let the Holt heads know Dateline is still involved in this format change. It's just not weekly. I mean, look, please reach out because overwhelmingly, the Holt heads that we talk to do not watch Dateline. They don't watch the show. Now, people reach out in like the Spotify comments or the Apple reviews. They do. They're like, thanks for saying what we're thinking while we're watching it. And that's what this show should be. But I don't know if that's our audience or something. So I'm not sure if it would bother people if, 2 out of the 4. Oh, now I'm talking about it, Kate. Let's wrap it up. What do you think? Kate's face says yes. Yeah. All right. Well, email us at imlesterholt@gmail.com if you got opinions on this. And I don't know. I'm stoked to see how YouTube comes after me. Because remember at Koberger, we thought we were very balanced. And there were all sorts of assholes on YouTube taking issue, right? Do I not want to stop talking? I think I'm fired up, Kate. And I'm like, let's roll with it.
I'm
going to keep talking.
I think people are going to come after both of us.
I don't know. The comments, when Dateline said new episode Thursday, all the comments were, I hope this one's not as biased. And I wanted to go, you guys are so dumb if you think they're starting from scratch on this episode. Like, if you thought the first one was biased, you're going to think it again. Because that's going to be most of it.
Biased for who?
Biased against Karen Reed. A lot of them were saying that.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right. Well, on that note, I'm Kurt Money.
I'm Kateline.
I'm Lester Holt. For all of us, I'm Lester Holt. Good night.
No ass.